and I think this is gonna be its like final setup here, but I know I'm probably lying because I'm gonna be changing crap out because that's what I do. And yes, I did indeed lie. This is the what I think is an A-Trend ATC 6631, which is supposed to be pretty similar to the Yamaha Edition 32. I originally bought this card because it's supposed to have good sound output, good FM synth, and a working MPU 401 that doesn't have any bugs with any video games, but of course the MPU doesn't work. I've tried this card in two different computers with two different sets of drivers, but I could not get the thing to output anything to my SC55 no matter how hard I tried. I even stuck that little Dream Blaster S2 on the MIDI header here, and I still couldn't get any sounds out of it. Of course, this annoyed the hell out of me, so that brings us to where I am today, which is to try and upgrade this computer to get it to where it has good OPL and good MIDI all at the same time. Of course, this was being done by my ESS card I've had in here for a while, but the problem with that is that its wave output was rather poor, especially in games like Descent 2. So I went looking through all my sound cards to see if I could find something that could do everything I wanted to, but of course I couldn't find anything that would give both good OPL and good MIDI output without any issues. So I finally came up with this bastard solution right here. So indeed, what you see here is the heretical practice of using two sound cards in one computer. So the main sound card and the bottom card is the Sound Blaster Vibra 16S, which is a rather unusual Vibra considering that it has the actual Yamaha OPL chip on it. In my Sound Blaster 16 comparison video, I couldn't get this thing to work in DOS, but since this is a primarily Windows machine, this will be just fine here. The top card is an ESS 1688, which will be just used for only outputting MIDI to the SC55 and ignored by everything else. Otherwise, this machine has the same CPU, the 200 MMX, and also a new fan in the front to keep everything nice and cool. I also changed out the Maxter drive with a Seagate Metalist, which is kind of an interesting drive. It makes a bit nicer noises, I suppose. Along with the old Bigfoot, that's still in there. I also changed the CD drive with a slower one because the other one decided it didn't like to read burnt discs anymore. I've upgraded the S3 Verge with an additional 2 MB of video memory, although I'll never use it. And I also have the Voodoo in here, which I installed heat sinks onto because I don't like frying things. It also has the good old maxed out 128 MB of memory, but I'll never use it, and I don't think anything above 64 megs is cacheable, so whatever, it's just for looks. All this paired with the SC55 makes for a pretty decked out old computer. So here's one of the few obligatory MIDI test songs. Yeah, of course it works. I've never really had any issues with the 1688 outputting MIDI. It's always been pretty good. And as you would expect from this card, even though it's a Vibra, it sounds pretty good with the FM synth. And here is everything working together, even though you're not supposed to listen to Tyrion with MIDI output. Of course, there are the older games that auto-detect where your Sound Blaster is and all that, and they don't always pick the Sound Blaster for sound output, but that's what my 486 is for. Besides all that sound card stuff, here's a game that I can only play on this computer. This is Layer Section, which is a port of the Saturn version, I think. I'm usually not too big on shooter games like this because I'm typically pretty bad at them, but this one's pretty great. The music's probably my favorite part of the whole thing. For whatever reason, this game was kind of speed sensitive. On my Pentium 2 it ran inconsistently, sometimes speeding up, sometimes slowing down. So I tried running it on my Pentium 4 for shits and giggles, and it crashed rather spectacularly, just dumping me on the desktop and spamming all sorts of sound effects. Of course, playing this on MAME would be the preferable way of doing so, but the fact that I can run this on my old computer kind of makes me happy. Since Forsaken has been a rather hot topic lately, I guess I'll just use this to show off the voodoo capabilities. There isn't too much to say about this game besides pretty lights, explosions, and pretty colors. Also, it has 3D stuff on old computers, so that's cool. And also with this handy dandy patch right here, we can mix both sound cards plus the Voodoo all into one game with Descent 2. The nice thing about this setup, and basically the reason why I wanted to put 2 sound cards in here, or a better sound card in here, is because the ES1688 for some reason didn't like playing very high quality sound effects. Now this way I can have good sound effects and music in Descent 2 without having to worry about slowdown issues in Duke 3D when using the AWE64 and MIDI, or hanging note bugs with the Sound Blaster 16 or whatever. So that basically sums up all the upgrades I've made to my first computer since my last update video. It is and probably always will be my favorite old computer to play games on, not only due to my nostalgia bias, but also just the wide range of games that it can play. So unless I can find a single card solution for my sound issues, this will probably be its final setup, but I know I'm probably lying because I change stuff out, because that's what I do.